Hello, my name is Mark Young, and I'm coming to you from Manila, Philippines. I've been a follower of Jesus for 34 years, and our reading today is from Mark 4:35 through 41. Let me read. Okay. On that day, when evening had come, Jesus had said to them, "Let's go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was, and the other boats were with him also. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But Jesus was asleep in the stern, asleep on the cushion. So they woke him and said, "Teacher, do you not care that we're perishing?" So Jesus awoke, and he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was great calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, "Who then is this? Who then is this, that even the wind and sea obey him?" The big idea in this passage is that Jesus has immense authority, even over nature. Now, Jesus is much more than his disciples thought. To this point, the disciples have experienced incredible miracles, and they've seen Jesus, they've seen him draw crowds together, and they've also learned mind-blowing things from Jesus. But they still saw him as just a really amazing man, or a miracle-making prophet. But here they get a glimpse into that part of Jesus that's much more than a man, but truly God's Son. So the gospel truth that this story reveals is the divine nature of Jesus as more than a man, but God himself. Jesus, God's Son, who is God, died for us. Okay? Not just a good man, but Jesus, God's Son, who is God, died for us. Jesus, God's Son, who is God, calls us to follow him. Jesus, God's Son, who is God, invites us to join his mission, cleanses us from sin, and also calls us friend and even family. So this is so significant for us to grasp. The disciples had missed it, but the author of Mark, the Gospel of Mark, doesn't want us to miss it. The reality of who Jesus really is and how that affects everything. I love the verse in Colossians 1:15 through 17, because I think it really captures in great description who Jesus really is. And that's expressed in this story when Jesus calms the storm. But let me read this to you, and maybe you'll get a better picture as well. Colossians 1:15 through 17. Jesus is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by Jesus all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, right? Wind, invisible. Waves, visible. Whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. You see the immense authority of Jesus. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Again, this immense authority. We begin to see God himself here. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell. And through him to reconcile all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of the cross. Jesus, God's Son, who is God, made peace by the blood of the cross. What difference does this make? Friends, because Jesus is who he is, because he is God's Son, because he is God, we don't have to live our lives with fear and anxiety. This story is such a great example to us, because the disciples were panicking, running around, and they did that because they didn't fully get and understand and comprehend who was with them. So they went to Jesus with that panic. And you know, Jesus is a little frustrated, but he's incredibly loving. And what he wants for his disciples is to live in the peace and strength that comes from knowing who's with them. And so when we know that Jesus, God's Son, God Himself is with us. When we take that into our day, and we take that into our prayer time, and we take that into the things that God's called us to, that makes all the difference in the world. One way we can apply this to our lives is to be more aware of who we're praying to when we pray. See, I think sometimes we can make the same mistake that the disciples made. And we go to Jesus, not as creator, who has supremacy over all things, who is the source of hope, who is love, who is truth. But we sometimes go to Jesus like a benevolent mini-God who we are kind of hoping will come through for us. So my challenge to you is to get to know the Jesus found in Colossians 1, 15 through 17. Spend some time in Colossians 1, 15 through 17. And then from that understanding, from that description of Jesus, go to that Jesus in your prayer time for your needs, for the concerns you have, with your questions, with your fears and anxieties. Go to that Jesus with everything. Go to the one who spoke peace over the storm, and know that that same Jesus who spoke peace over the storm speaks peace over your life as well. Thanks, and God bless.